The Saw is family.
What's going on, guys? My name is Very Fucking Confused here.
My name is Very Fucking Confused. What's your name?
And welcome to the Saw is Family. Today, we're going to be talking about Saw X. Rather, 10 things I want from Saw X. So without any more further ado, let's get straight on into it.
You're in very good hands with us.
After that, what happens then?
Your whole life happens then. John Kramer.
According to these scans, the tumor was never removed.
How much time do I have?
Months, at best.
I still have a lot of work that needs to be done.
Oh shit. So, Saw X. You guys were probably thinking the same thing I was thinking. Why? Why make another movie about this series, you know? Why are we going back? We should be going forward. It's just that, you see, after Jigsaw, which told a story before the first movie, before the first game, and established that Jigsaw had a different accomplice, had an accomplice before the other accomplices, being Logan Nelson, i.e., spoilers, the doctor that switched his x-rays, which led to his cancer diagnosis not being completely seen in time. And then we had Spiral. Spiral being Detective Banks, played by Chris Rock,
Oh, wow.
going after a Jigsaw copycat. And while that movie made its money at the box office, it didn't exactly win a lot of appraisal from fans. I think most of it came down to the story just kind of being eh.
When I do, I'm gonna take this gun and shoot that motherfucker.
And really. It just
Bitch, it was you? You fucking with my son again? God damn you, son of a bitch!
yeah. But Saw X. This movie is being directed by the same two people, Josh Stolberg and Peter Goldfinger. I definitely enjoyed Jigsaw and Spiral more than most, and that's why I have actual faith in this project, especially after seeing the trailer. The trailer is pretty fucking cool, so I'm really excited to see this movie, but after giving it a second look and really analyzing it for this very video, I have to say, I would like to say that it would be a good movie and that I'm going to really enjoy it. I'm probably going to enjoy it either way. But to me, I think it's either going to be just as bad as Jigsaw and Spiral were in terms of story, or it's going to surprise all of us. And I am hoping that it surprises all of us. And because of my expectations, it's exactly what I want to talk about in this video. And further, seeing that we're about, 4-5 days away from release date, I thought I would drop this video because I want to. I love the franchise to death. Lane loves this franchise to death. So I'm going to offer my 10 wants that I want from this movie. Oh, and quick warning, spoilers ahead. I'm probably going to spoil some heavy stuff from the other Saw movies, so if you haven't seen them, please watch all of them. Everything from Saw 1 all the way to Spiral. And if not Spiral, at least Jigsaw, or at least Saw 7. Rest in peace, Chester Bennington. Rest in peace. So without any further ado, let's get straight into it. These are the 10 things I want in Saw X. Number 10. Do not humanize the victims in this movie. These people are working a scam to defraud the most vulnerable. Fuck these people. They are complete pieces of utter shit. Disclaimer, I do not condone murder of any kind or torture of any kind. But these people, you want to see them die probably. And if you didn't come for the story, you definitely came for the death, gore, and kills. So I want to see some people suffer. And if I want to see some people suffer, these people deserve to suffer. If you all remember Saw 6, there was a game with John's healthcare providers, William Easton and co. William Easton himself was a crooked dude. I could tell he wasn't a bad dude per se. He definitely got caught up in the greed that his company ran scams with. To tell you the truth, I wanted him to live at the end of the movie. Saw 6 is actually one of my favorite Saw movies of all time. It might be my number 1, probably tied with Saw 5, or Saw 1, maybe even 3. I hate Jeff though, fuck Jeff. Slow ass motherfucking Jeff. Until the Shotgun Carousel game, most of the people in this game were mostly alright people. They weren't all pieces of shit, but they definitely were put in the game for a reason. These guys were kind of crooked and kind of greedy. They ran a lot of people out of their healthcare for ridiculous reasons. John was one of them. That's what pretty much put them all in the grave. This movie, I want to see the opposite of that. I want to see these people fuck around and find out. Being that this movie is being directed by Peter Goldfinger and Josh Stolberg, a la Jigsaw and Spiral, they should have no problem making these people absolute scumbags that you want to see die. Now, from some of the clips I've seen, that being the eye trap and a few of the moments in the trailers, it seems like these guys could go either way on the moral scale. Do I want them to be humanized? No. If they have to humanize some of them, I am fine with it. But I don't want to see all these people be somewhat likable. These people shouldn't be likable. Being that these people decided to run a scam on, of all people, John Kramer, I'd say that their punishment and torture is well deserved, and they chose the wrong person to fuck with. So, being that is the case, I want to see them suffer the consequences. And we both know that John will definitely make that happen. Anyways, let's move on to number 9. Number 9. Have the used Mudvayne Slipknot play in the end to get that extra Saw 1 through 2 feel. Being that this movie takes place between Saw 1 and Saw 2 as a prequel, and that they're going back to the old days, I would like to see some actual nu metal being played. Mudvayne just came out of retirement and they're back to it. So why not let's see a Mudvayne song play at the end, or maybe the You song. I mean, it was Amanda's theme basically in Saw 2, so oh yeah, my girlfriend screamed her head off when she saw that scene, because The Used is a pretty kick-ass band. For me, the fans, for the feel, for the nostalgia, I would love to see a metal band play, preferably a nu metal band from that very era. I just also realized that I have no earring. Yeah, I was working yesterday, it must have got lost. Oops. Number 8. A small mention of Lawrence, Logan Nelson, or Jill Tuck. Being that this is Saw X, a movie that takes place between Saw 1 and Saw 2, Logan Nelson has probably already been deployed in the Middle East, so he's probably not going to get a mention in this movie, but even a small mention, like a little out of place, you're not the first apprentice, Amanda, or something like that. Nothing that, gives away the fact that there are definitely more apprentices that Amanda or Hoffman shouldn't know about because, contingency plans. But just like a little sly remark to one of them, or just a mention, or maybe even mail or a phone call, or some kind of mention just acknowledging the fact that Logan is still alive somewhere, that Lawrence is still alive somewhere. A little thing from Jill Tuck, even though they should not have any contact at the moment. Being that this is Saw 1 to Saw 2, by this point John has disconnected from Jill for a while now, and he shouldn't be interacting with her up until that scene in Saw 4 where he actually gives her a message in his will. That's just what I would like to see if it happens. And if it doesn't, no big deal, but just a little acknowledgement that they're still around and kicking would be cool, seeing as that Jigsaw is canon, Logan Nelson is canon, and seeing that Lawrence, Saw 7, him being an apprentice, is canon. So I would personally just like to see that. Anyways, moving on to number 7. Spoilers. At the end of Rogue One, Darth Vader was hot on the tail of the Tantive 4 crew. That being Princess Leia and Captain Antilles. And then, basically, the end of Rogue One segues straight into Episode 4, A New Hope. So why don't they do that with Saw X going to Saw 2? I just think that that'd be a huge fucking theater moment. Like, boom, fucking Carrie, Rig, Eric Matthews, they're investigating what happened, they're trying to find Jigsaw, they're trying to bring him down, they believe that Jigsaw is in this or that area, they start investigating, maybe they see something about Mexico, or maybe they don't, and that's why they didn't mention it in Saw 2. I'm just saying, with all the past games that have been played before Saw 1 and with Saw 1, I'm saying that it just would be cool, I think, personally, to see Rig, Carrie, and Eric Matthews make another appearance. But if that can't happen for, budgetary or time restraint reasons, I completely get it, it's not necessary. And not everything has to be played for fan service. But, personally me, I would like to see that. If that doesn't happen, I totally get it. Number 6. Canonize that Adam is alive and yet he is a Jigsaw apprentice. I might get some shit for this one, and I'm probably going to. Hey, no, Jay, wait. Adam's dead. He died all the way back in the second movie. Arguably, technically the first movie. He is a goner. Amanda killed him. Mercy killed him. And he is dead. He is not coming back, so quit hoping he's going to come back. To me, I feel like if Adam came back, it would make sense. Look, hear me out. Because I actually have a pretty good proposition for Adam coming back, if he does. Yeah, Leigh Whannell wasn't the best actor in the first one. I fucking love that scene. Maybe he wasn't the greatest actor. He helped create this franchise with James Wan. I feel like if he were to come back, it would be well deserved. If you want to recast him, go right ahead, I guess. I don't know. But I feel like Adam could do some wonders. So, hear me out here. Let's say, who remembers Eric Matthews? Oh yeah, I talked about him like a few numbers ago. Eric Matthews. He was looking for his son. John led him to the actual place where the game went down at the end of Saw 2. And what happened to Eric? He got ambushed by Amanda, he got drugged, twist ending, and then he was left in the shit room with a chain on his ankle and with one choice, basically. Game over, you need to cut your leg off. And what did he do? He broke his leg. He broke out, and he fucked up Amanda. And then Amanda turned around, and she killed him. Until Saw 4. What happened in Saw 4, Jay? Turns out Eric is actually alive, and kinda well, but he's alive. Really only for him to die anyways, but point being, they retconned the fact that he was killed by Amanda. And yeah, there wasn't really visual evidence she killed him, but she said she killed him. And even Jigsaw worded it like she killed him. They altered the canon with Eric being alive. Jigsaw had him nursed back to health. I'm pretty sure Lawrence did it, because he's the doctor, and he was an apprentice probably around this time, more than likely, unless he needed more convincing. But it would make more sense to me. So there's my theory, pretty much. If Eric can be brought back from the dead the way he was, then there's no problem with Adam being brought back to life the way he was. And yeah, there was a body in the second movie that looked like Adam's, but then again, David Tapp was killed, and he was wearing pretty much the same clothes that Adam was wearing. They could have just switched the bodies, because, well, what if Amanda went back and found out that Adam was not dead? Yeah, he did choke on some blood. Yeah, it looked like Amanda pretty much suffocated him and killed him. But it's been established that Jigsaw has some pretty good hands, that being Lawrence Gordon. And if Lawrence Gordon can bring back Eric, I'm almost completely certain that Lawrence Gordon can bring back Adam. Furthermore, in Jigsaw, the only one who survives the original game that was played in that movie was Logan Nelson. And how did he actually make it out? Because John said in his words,
John decided I shouldn't have to die over an honest mistake. He gave me a second chance.
Yeah. An honest mistake? I'm sorry, but if you're gonna make me try and buy that bullshit, then I'm pretty much willing to believe that he would also spare Adam. Dealt the wrong hand by Amanda. His game was sabotaged from the very beginning, and he had no chance of survival. He was never making it out of that room because of Amanda. I would like to think that if Adam was in the background taking photographs for John, exposing people, and bringing it to John on John's orders, it would make sense. Adam was a photographer, not just any photographer, but a freelance photographer for hire. His job in the first movie was to take pictures of people as blackmail. That's what David Tep hired him to do. And here's the thing. In Saw, there's many Saws where there's still photos of things that happened, but in Saw 4, there was Ivan. Ivan had done some pretty harsh things to some women, and John was gonna make him pay. If you want to know more, watch the movie. But point being, where did all those photos come from? I really don't think that Ivan took it himself. If he did, then that's my fault. I fucked up on my part for that research. But if he didn't, then who did? How about the actual photographer known for being a photographer in this franchise? Adam. Adam did it, and he's been working alongside John this whole time. I'm just saying that it makes sense for Adam to be alive, since, for one, his game was completely unfair and sabotaged from the very beginning. John has had a history of sparing people that didn't really deserve to die because of their circumstances. So, if he can spare Eric, and if he can spare Logan, then he can spare Adam. Adam, out of the three of them, did the least amount of bad. So, it makes sense for Adam to still be alive. But if they don't go that way, I understand, but I think it would be one hell of a twist if Adam was still kicking. Behind the scenes with Lawrence. Number 5. Keep with the flashbacks. The flashbacks in these movies are some of the greatest things in this franchise, to tell about the past. I'm slightly concerned about the flashbacks being in this movie. If they really wanted to make it like Saw 1 and 2, or somewhere around there, then I feel like you need to have some kind of flashbacks. But because of the last two movies that Peter Goldfinger and Josh Stolberg did, being Jigsaw and Spiral, I can't promise that there will be flashbacks. I have faith that they could make a good movie, and they could make a movie that is very reminiscent of the first two movies, but I'm slightly concerned about this one. And I feel like this is something, unlike the other things I brought up, that I feel like you need for this movie for it to work, or for it to be more effective. All the Saw movies, nearly every single one, has had flashbacks, and those flashbacks told something that was imperative to know about the past. Some of them would set up the next movie, and stuff that would happen in the next movie. I feel like it would be good to have flashbacks in this movie, because that's just how this franchise rolls. But I'm just slightly concerned, and I say that because Jigsaw had no flashbacks, other than Jigsaw had flashbacks, but it didn't. The whole movie was a flashback, and I don't mean that as a euphemism like the rest of the Saw movies. I literally mean the entire movie was a goddamn flashback, and that was a twist. That everything that you were seeing already happened in the past. John Kramer was not back, he is dead, he was just... The story they were telling was happening in the past, and a game that was happening in present time was exactly like that game with different people. That's just... Things worked for me in that movie, but that wasn't one of them. Not that. However, I do think that Jigsaw was probably a bit better than the next one I'm going to talk about. Spiral. Spiral had some issues. Other than some of the story and some of the plot, I think it had some good things going for it, but it had no flashbacks other than the flashback that Shank talked about with his dad dying because he wanted to testify about something he was involved in until a corrupt cop shot him down. Boggs, I believe? Pretty sure it's Boggs. My point being is that I don't think that Peter Goldfinger and Josh Stolberg may be able to do this feat. And if they do, good, I am happy. They have either grown or they understand that this is a different entry in the Saw franchise. I think for this movie to work as well as it should be, I think that flashbacks are needed to tell some of the story. My theory is that everything that happened with John going to Mexico and getting this experimental treatment is going to happen, but it's going to happen as a flashback. And everything that's happening in present time will be happening throughout the movie, but the flashbacks will be happening throughout like the first, like maybe half of the movie, maybe it could be the whole movie, how and why the procedure went the way it did, and John finding out that it was all a scam. That's my theory for how the movie's going to go, but if it goes a different way, I would love to see how it goes. And you know what? I think we could have a really good movie if it's just done correctly. Moving on to the next one. Number 4. Do not use the old traps. So here's my next point basically. Don't use the old traps. Keep turning out new traps we haven't seen before. And if you're going to end up using the old traps for nostalgia, then make it minuscule. Many people are here to see classic Saw traps like the reverse bear trap, the needle pit, glass coffin, and shotgun collar, or something along the lines of that. So I get it if you need to include it, but for me, and for variety, please play to the strengths of what was advertised in the trailers. Use brand new traps. We don't want another Halloween Ends. It seems to me that they're going to go this direction with my point. They're going to use new traps, and I honestly think they are going to do fine on my point here. They will use new traps. The clips that I've seen, and plus the trailers so far, it looks like these traps are going to be completely new, and holy goddamn, that eye trap looks fucking horrifying. I cannot wait to see it on screen. It is going to rock. But if not, then please play to the strengths of what was advertised in the trailers and use brand new traps. We don't want another repeat of Halloween Ends. We don't want false advertisement. We want new traps. I want new traps. People do want new traps. Brand spanking new. Number 3. If you're gonna add Amanda back, use her wisely. Okay, I just need to get this straight out of the gate. I fucking hate this bitch with a passion. She has been sabotaging games from the very first Saw movie, Saw 2, and Saw 3. She can't stop sabotaging games because she wants to be the only apprentice worthy of John's love. If I can't have him, no one can. Some real Corey Cunningham shit. And if they're going to be faithful to 1 and 2, then I'm going to have to guess that Amanda's probably going to be up to her old ass antics. And if it isn't, then the people that know Amanda's a piece of shit are going to complain. Personally, I'm fine if they go either way. I wouldn't care much because I really don't care about this character. But if they're going to bring her back, and if she is going to be sabotaging games, then I hope that these characters that are actually in this game being tested are people we can hate enough to the point where Amanda sabotaging their game actually feels good. And if that's the case, that actually might be a cool thing to witness in the movie. Seeing Amanda sabotage somebody who actually deserved to die. Not Carrie, not Eric, not Adam, certainly, and pretty much everybody she has sabotaged. Poor Troy. And nothing against Shawnee Smith. I think she's a fine actress, and I enjoy her time in the Saw movies. But I fucking hate Amanda. My hate for Amanda comes from a place of I hate her because she's a well-written character, not that I hate her because she's a stupid character. No, the character I actually hate the most in this franchise has to go to Jeff. Yeah, fuck you, Jeff.
Where is my daughter? You mother...
Satisfying. However, even though I do not like the character, I do think that Shawnee coming back is good, and I do think that I'm actually happy to see Amanda again. It would be cool to see her again, I think. And you know what? If they want to build upon her, then by all means, go ahead. I would love to see more story about this character. Not needed, but I wouldn't mind. But if you're going to have Amanda back, please bring back Hoffman. It would make sense if he was helping in this game. And speaking of Detective Mark Hoffman, on to number 2. Number 2, Hoffman making an appearance. Costas Mandylor, who played Hoffman in Saws 3 through 7, played the character Mark Hoffman, named after the producer named Hoffman, who passed away shortly after the third movie, I believe. It was either the third movie or the second movie, and they named this character, Mark Hoffman, after Hoffman, the producer. I don't think that Costas Mandylor is on the IMDb page for Saw X, but if he was, I may have seen it. And I swear, I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. Like, I don't want to make people think that, that he's going to be in this movie, because he may very well just not be in this movie. They might just be focusing on Amanda and John in terms of the apprentices, or the Jigsaw apprentices, the Jigsaw ring. But I want to say it makes complete and utter sense to have Mark Hoffman in this movie. Remember, as Peter Strom said, Jigsaw was brains, not brawn. Amanda, she helped, but she wasn't the muscle. It was Mark Hoffman, and it was always Mark Hoffman. Costas Mandylor, he said he'd be down to reprise the role of Mark Hoffman. I'm just saying, it would be completely reasonable for him to be in this movie. Hoffman, personally, he's my favorite apprentice out of all of them. Right next to Logan Nelson, I'd say. Hoffman's kind of an evil motherfucker, but he 100% is probably one of the best characters in this franchise. And I would love to see Costas Mandylor return as Hoffman. I think that would be great for nostalgia, and that would be great for the story if he was here helping. Because I'm sorry, but I do not expect Amanda and John to be organizing all of this. That usually goes to Amanda or Hoffman, or usually both of them. If you don't want to bring back the character from seemingly death in Saw 7, then bring him back in a movie where he is very much still alive. And have him do some cool shit. Have him keep the cops off John's tail, or have him argue with Amanda. Just me, personally, I would love to see him back. Number 1. Do away with that fucking cheap-ass Trick or Treat Studios pig mask. That thing looks atrocious, and it looks nothing like the original Amanda pig mask. I mean, just look at the two. Look at them. They don't look anything alike. This thing looks like it was bought in a fucking Party City. Give me a fucking break, man. I'm just kidding, guys. No, that's not number 1. I would be disappointed if that was number 1. Here's my actual number 1. Ready? Let's do it. Number 1. Make Jigsaw an actual anti-hero this time. John Kramer as a character has been favored by a lot of people. That's what makes this franchise for them. For me, though, I do love the character of John Kramer. I think he's a very tragic character. I think he might be one of the best written characters of all time. It's very, very highly debatable if he's actually a good person, and not just some deranged maniac who says one thing and does something else. It definitely seems like that for a lot of the time. What I did like about Jigsaw is that it actually made Jigsaw kind of relatable. These people did some pretty heinous things, and they kind of did deserve to be in this. If Jigsaw had to go after some people, he went after the right people. But this was earlier in his cancer stage, where he could still think and function mostly correctly. From Saw 1 to pretty much every movie up until his death, he thinks pretty irrationally. Yes, he does predict his games pretty well, but point being, he has a lot of collateral damage, and a lot of the people he puts in the traps and the way he has them done is questionable. Yes, you could argue that Amanda sabotaged it, or that Mark Hoffman made it go a certain way so it could benefit him, but we gotta remember who actually wanted these people in these games. It was John. And I think partially some of the responsibility of these people's deaths go to John. So if Peter Goldfinger and Josh Stolberg want to make this an actual movie where John seems like he's completely in the right, I am so down for that. Because I think John being wronged and him dishing out his rehabilitation on these people could make for one of the best Saw movies in this entire franchise. Maybe even the best one. This movie has the potential to be one of the best goddamn Saw movies of all time. Maybe even one of the best horror movies of all time. I would love to see that done. Please, please, please make John likable in this movie enough for the crowd to root for him. I certainly want to root for him, and I think a lot of people also want to root for him. And well, guys, I think that will do it. That's the 10 things I want from Saw X. I hope you enjoyed the video. Y'all have a great day. And remember, guys, this is not a retribution. This is a reawakening.
Where is my daughter, you mother...